And good morning, Rewind listeners, and welcome once again to the Abundant Retirement Show from Ross Wealth Advisors. I'm Joe Bradley, and a good morning to Don Ross. Notice the name similarity, Don Ross, Ross Wealth Advisors. And good morning to you, Don. How are you?
And you haven't given me my title yet this morning.
I'm about
retirement
ready to.
Boss.
Ladies and gentlemen, Don Ross, the retirement boss. Always remember that. Remember that Don Ross is the retirement boss.
I don't know how many eyebrows that raises out there, It's 7 in the morning.
Well, but the reality is it makes perfect sense because when all else fails and nobody else can give you the answers that you need, your coworkers, your supervisor, where do you go? You go to the boss.
Retirement boss.
Don Ross, the retirement boss, with all the answers for your abundant retirement. And, and that's the reality. That's what we're here to talk about. And primarily, we're talking to you if you are retired or retirement-minded. Now, all of us, of course, that's the dream from the first day you get your job is, well, when am I going to be done with this? But the reality is we're talking to people who are retired currently or are retirement-minded, which tends to be people 5 to maybe even 10 years away.
Yeah, especially about what we're going to talk about today. Retirement-minded is you are retired or within 10 years of retiring.
Absolutely.
And you want to get your house in order, which includes, we look at everything, estate planning, your investments. But today, what's the topic today?
It's a scary topic. I mean, it's a scary topic if you're without answers for it. And that is the possibility of, I hate to even say it because I don't even like thinking about it. Frankly, running out of money in retirement.
Many people are concerned about it.
Yep. That's the number one question people want answered. But the way they ask it is, how much money do I need? Which is, that changes. It is different for everybody. So there is no one answer. But the reason they're asking that question is because of that fear. The tremendous fear of running out of money in retirement.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible idea.
So now that we have your attention.
Yeah, you're awake now.
Yeah, so that commercial, I forget who has a Prudential, whatever they say, how much you need, everybody needs a different amount.
Right.
What's important is, looking at what is it going to cost you to live each month. And this is what I help people do when we put together their retirement income plan, a written retirement income plan, which is what I'm going to talk about, how to get one to you.
And that's one of the things I think we should focus on, too. And I know that we do pretty regularly. You mention this every time it comes up when you're talking about income planning and how when people work with you, they actually have a written, it's as though you were taking a loan and you were looking at the amortization table. And you can see, except it goes the other direction. Right. It doesn't move up. It doesn't start big and get little. It stays the same over a period of time. But it's the same idea. You have a spreadsheet that basically shows exactly what you have saved for retirement and what you have invested in your portfolio, what it is going to provide for you for the time of life that you're going to be retired, which is another variable, too.
Yeah, well, the good news is we're living longer. The bad news is we're living longer. So, I build custom plans based on your needs. As an independent advisor, I'm not answered to any corporate philosophy or corporate sway as this is what's good for your clients. I left that big firm. I won't name them on the radio.
Well, why wouldn't you want to be with a big firm, Don? Don't the big firms get the volume discount? Don't they have more access to more resources and bigger brains and smarter people and faster computers and all of that?
Nope, that doesn't work. And I have access to the top minds in the country when I need to build a plan for my clients. So. What is the advantage of you not being with a big firm? Because there's obviously one. I'm gonna shop and put together the best plan based on resources I have access to. So I have resources I can go to, and frankly, I network with some of the top independent advisors in this country, and we share ideas on what's best for our clients, whether they're here in Columbus or in Spokane, Washington. I felt slighted, or I was kind of limited on what I could do.
You were hamstrung working with a big company.
I was kind of limited on what I could do, and if you come in and we do an analysis to put together your written retirement income plan, we're going to look at your portfolio, and I'm going to show you how it might be slighted based on who is writing that report, or if you even have a written income plan. Most people do not, and even people that come to us that have a planner or an advisor, they don't have a written plan. And they need one, and it can be measured year by year on how well you're staying on track.
And I think for most people, that is the one thing that they are missing in general when you ask them. If they'll speak with you honestly, and they do with you clearly,
yes,
about their retirement planning, is that they don't have a piece of paper. They don't have a piece of paper that says this is what's going to happen, and here's how it's going to work, and here's how much money you're going to have to spend every year or every month, depending on how you want to look at it. And that's the one thing that answers that question and can allay that fear of running out of money in retirement.
Yeah. And it's funny, when I sit down with someone for the first time, which I like to offer that to any listeners that has saved $250,000 or more for retirement. Joe will give out our number and email and all that here. But, most of the heavy lifting is done just getting to know each other and building a plan. And then when we have our annual or semi-annual reviews twice a year, we're just kind of validating everything's okay. And
right.
We talk about how the family, what's going on in life. And but building the plan is the first part. And, it's kind of like if you're going to add onto your house or build a house, those of you who've done that, you're going to talk about what kind of floor plan do you want and what kind of basic house design do you want. And that's what we're doing together. I'm basically doing this on a collaborative basis as your retirement boss. I'm not bossing you. We're doing it together. So and you have skin in the game, and that's part of the reason I wrote my book, The Retirement Survival Guide, is you can now, in about a 2-hour read, get a good idea of what you should be considering for building a retirement plan, a written income plan.
I don't like to go backward necessarily, but you mentioned something that I think is worth elaborating on, and you mentioned having an annual or a semi-annual review with customers that you have. And I think that's incredibly important. And I think when you said that, and the reason I want to emphasize it is because I don't know that necessarily, it may have just gone by the wayside and somebody didn't hear it. But if you think about your situation now, maybe you haven't spoken with your advisor in a while. Maybe you talked to them once or twice, and that was it. And you haven't heard from them at all. And really, retirement and your planning for an abundant retirement is not if I can steal from Ron Popeil, a set it and forget it kind of thing.
No.
It is set it up correctly. It is monitor and maintain it.
Yep.
But it's not just set it and forget it. And, by the next time you call your advisor or your firm that you deal with, you find out that the person that you spoke with initially has been gone for 5 years. I mean, that's not, not the way it should be.
Or a lot of people, they leave the business after 2 or 3 years. A lot of, I've been doing this 30 years and most people don't even make it 5 years. So, and on that note, the industry is looking for this retirement wave coming. So there's big firms out there hiring left and right. And so if you get a call from a 24-year-old kid trying to start his practice, you might want to think twice.
Right.
Because you don't know that they weren't flipping burgers last week.
That's, they were doing something last year that they are not doing this year.
Right. And
which is not to say that there aren't some young, bright minds out there that will do the right things.
No doubt about it.
But
I'd rather bring my 30 years of experience than someone's 2 or 3 years experience.
If I'm gonna have open heart surgery, I would prefer not to have the resident doing it. I would prefer to have the 30-year surgeon who has done this a few times.
It's a walk in the park.
Yeah, that's just and that's just a normal and a natural thing.
Yeah.
But running out of money, and not to keep scaring people with that sound, but running out of money is a frightening thought. Yep. Let's talk about how you go about determining and structuring someone's portfolio and to come up with a written income plan that will benefit them, that they can count on.
So what happens is when we're sitting in the office, and by the way, you can go to my website, rosswolfadvisors.com.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why don't you mention the website, email, phone number right now?
We get wrapped up in talking about all the work that you do and how well you do the work for people. We have to give them access to it, and it's very simple. The first thing I would recommend for you to do, it's a Sunday morning, you've got some time, rosswealthadvisors.com. Hit that on the web. You will get a wealth of information there, no pun intended. They will get you started and, get you thinking more and more about this particular topic. It'll answer some questions for you. It'll probably also bring up some questions that you'll want answers to. Next step, reach out to Ross Wealth Advisors. You can do that through email. Send a mail to don@rosswealthadvisors.com, or simply take your telephone and call 614-545-0277. And you can call right now if you want to. Yes, it's a Sunday, but there will be a human being who will speak with you and make sure that you will get your information and you'll get some answers. Don's book is a wealth of information, and it's really written in a very straightforward and a survival guide style, which sounds maybe a little unusual when you're talking about retirement and the rest of your life. But the reality is you have to survive retirement.
Well, I wrote it with the slant of when I went to boot camp in 1982 as a young Army recruit. You're handed a survival guide, and it gives you practical solutions on how to survive in certain situations.
Absolutely.
So I did it with 10 chapters in my book. I had 5 clients edit it, and I've received great compliments. And people read it in between their first and second visit in the office, so they can really get a better idea who we are in the leisure of reading at home, on the couch, or the office, or hopefully not driving down the road. But,
I've seen that.
That stuff happens.
I don't encourage it, but I've seen it.
I saw a guy the other day, paper full out open, driving down the road.
Was he eating cereal as well? I've seen somebody reading a book and eating a bowl of cereal.
And got his vapor pipe out and all that.
I don't get that. And the nice thing is, it's your book to keep. It's absolutely free. And while you're looking through it, make notes in the margin. Write notes to yourself about various things, so that when you do meet with Don, the second time, all those questions that you're trying to keep track of, you've got them right there in the book. You'll be able to get them addressed and get good answers.
It's large font, so it's very simple to read. And the idea is, it's only 100 pages long. It's not a long read.
It's not War and Peace.
Right. In fact, if it was 300 pages long, no one would read it. So it's designed to be down and dirty. And really, the goal is I like to be an educator, is if you read the book and it doesn't make sense, then we don't really have a basis to sit down and work together. But if you read and you go, yeah, he's speaking my language, now we have a basis to move forward. And that's what I like about it. And that's why I wrote it.
Well, and I think you've mentioned this in the past, and it's worth mentioning again, that your best client is someone who, well, first of all, has prepared for this particular moment and meeting with you and having half of their ducks in a row, that you can also arrange the rest of the way. But also an informed and educated client is your best kind of client, because you're not having to bring them up to speed. I mean, not that you have to be a financial genius, but to at least have a general grasp of what you're going to be doing, rather than somebody who just has no idea what's going on. And the book is a great primer for that. Even if you just, your mind boggles when you start doing simple math. You don't need to be a math whiz. You just need to understand some simple concepts about retirement planning and income planning and a portfolio. And from there, you will be able to make sense of all of it.
Yeah, so I think we have to go to a break here.
We do.
I'd like to sit down with you one-on-one. Hey, it's 45 minutes to see if you're on track. If you've saved at least $250,000 for retirement, give me a call. That number that Joe shared is our office, 614-545-0277. Or just email me, don@rosswealthadvisors.com. And let's just start to get to know each other on a nice, slow basis, no rush. And, give us a call. I'd love to sit down with you and get to know you better.
Talk with Don and the folks at Ross Wealth Advisors. It is never too early to plan, but it can certainly be too late if you let it go. This is the Abundant Retirement Show on Rewind. Joe Bradley here with Don Ross, the retirement boss of Ross Wealth Advisors, and we're discussing retirement planning versus retirement income planning. It's just a one word, but big difference, right, Don?
Absolutely. Significant difference, Joe. Retirement planning is about growing your assets, like in your 401ks, your IRAs, deferred comp. So when you retire, you have that money to enjoy that abundant retirement. Retirement income planning is different in our area of expertise. Remember, when that paycheck stops, everything changes. Are your assets positioned and invested properly to generate reliable income regardless of what happens on Wall Street or Main Street, and more importantly, how long you live.
So Ross Wealth Advisors is really about specializing in this, right?
Absolutely. Any mistakes during this phase of your life could be catastrophic.
Whether you're retired or within 5 years of retiring or just have concerns about whether you're going to have enough money, call Don's office and schedule a complimentary visit. The number is 614-545-0277, or you can simply visit rosswealthadvisors.com.
We're back on the Abundant Retirement Show. I'm Joe Bradley, along with Don Ross, the retirement boss from Ross Wealth Advisors.
Yes, sir. Here we are.
Throw out the website again. It's rosswealthadvisors.com. The telephone number is 614-545-0277. Call anytime.
Anytime.
Talking today, about two things. The one is the problem, and the second is the solution.
There you go.
The first is running out of money in retirement, the thing that we all want to avoid.
Yep.
And the second thing is the solution or the remedy to that potential problem, and that is a written income plan for your retirement. Talk about how that works, Don. Exactly. What does that look like, and how do you go about determining that written income plan that a person can rely on?
Well, we got to first analyze what you're investing in now, whether you're retired or 10 years out. And if you're retired, are you going to stay on track? And if you're not, if you're 10 years out, you might want to start getting an idea of, well, what does it look like? So you've got so much saved now, you're continuing to save, and what are you living on? And you might say, well, I'm living on more now than I will in retirement. Well, not necessarily, because we're going to include inflation.
Absolutely.
And then you have to.
Well, you always think you can say. I think a lot of people do always think, well, I can cut here and I can cut there, but when
I don't want you to. I want to show.
Don't want to have to do
I want
that.
to show you an abundant retirement.
Yes.
And the other thing is you have to remember is the taxes. So if you saved in retirement accounts, which most of you have and are, like retirements, IRAs, 401ks, things like that. Well, you have to remember tax has to come out of that. So a lot of people will say, well, I've saved X, and if I just take out a percentage of that a year, I'll be fine. Well, a big chunk of that coming out is taxes, and that's what's overlooked and how you could miscalculate your retirement income. So if we sit down, and like I said earlier, if you saved at least $250,000 for retirement, we can start putting together a written income plan, whether you're retired now or you've been retired or you're retiring in 10 years. We can start building a plan now, and that's what I want to encourage you to do. And it's literally, we can sit down in 45 minutes and start getting to know each other one-on-one.
So once you've gotten past the initial meeting with a client and you both seem to be a good fit with one another, and then you start to dive into the details, basically. When you sit down, when you actually write out an income plan, I mean, does it say, okay, you're going to have X number of dollars for this period of time, or for this year, for this month, et cetera.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's on paper, and you can rely on it.
Well, first it's digital, so you can actually see on the website.
Sorry, I'm a dinosaur. I'm thinking about using paper, but you're right.
No,
you can just look at it electronically.
It's not a little spreadsheet. Now, I have people bring in spreadsheets.
Sure.
But I'm just saying, we put it up on a screen, sitting at the table together, and actually you can see me sitting with some clients on the website. But that digital plan we put on the wall in a big flat screen TV is also imported, and it's a written plan. That's what I mean by written.
Right.
It's actually not, hey, you've got so much, and if you take out this much, no. I'm going to look at inflation. I'm going to look at how much of your income is going to be taxed because it's in retirement accounts. And then we're also going to inflate your expenses. So all that's taken into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, all those things are. Do most people that come in to meet with you, Don, do they already have some sort of written plan, or do they have something? I say written again. Do they have some sort of plan that tells them those things?
Not really. And it's due to some of the big firms that they're getting advice from, and maybe they have some kind of idea they're okay. But that to me is called hope, and I don't think hope is a good plan.
Hope is a nice concept, but hope is not always the best plan.
Well, there's hope that we could study, like in the Bible, that kind of hope. But hoping that your retirement plan is on track is not a good idea.
Faith is one thing. Hope is another.
Yeah. So, I can show you absolutely what is it going to look like. And you know what? Some of you, here's what I find when I sit with families every day. some of you would like to really retire sooner. Those of you who aren't retired.
Like now, like next week, like next year.
Yes. And they don't know how to figure it out. And I've been doing this for 30 years, and I can help you figure it out. I had a couple a few years back that they had a date and time figured out when they wanted to retire. Here's what's interesting. The wife was kind of a big wig in a local company here. I uncovered that she hated her job.
Oh.
And now we're talking about quality of life, folks. We're talking about you having the life that you want. And if they didn't do the planning, they wouldn't have known that they could actually retire sooner. And here's what's unique. It made her realize she didn't mind her job after all.
Because she didn't have to be there.
She realized she could have told her, employers, go pound salt, okay? That changed her whole attitude.
Absolutely. I can see that. Absolutely.
And so she was like, I can deal with this. And they were actually going to promote her and do some other things. She ultimately did retire, and just loving retirement, which is what I'm in business for, is to give you that written plan, knowing your portfolio is proper, your taxes, and also your estate plan. Our attorney will make sure you have a good estate plan, that's set up. All that has to work harmoniously together.
And that's another element of the services that are offered by Ross Wealth Advisors. It's even more than just money. It's even more than just that monthly number that you're going to be able to have and live comfortably with. Every other element of retired life and life in general, as you stop working and look toward just enjoying your life.
Yep.
There are other elements of that Ross Wealth Advisors, that you have experts on staff that deal with all of those various elements.
Absolutely. It's about putting a comprehensive written income plan together. And if we visit for just 45 minutes, and you've saved at least $250,000 for retirement, we can start putting a plan together for you immediately. And if you call 614-545-0277 or email me directly, yes, I will get right back to you, don@rosswealthadvisors.com. I've had many clients and potential clients. We may meet with 10 people and work with 3. We don't work with everybody. Maybe we can confirm that you're okay. But I've had people give me great compliments like, hey, I'm impressed with how fast you get back to me. I had, in fact, a couple of years ago, I was over in Scotland, and a gentleman who's now a great client was a prospective client, and he was just shocked when I called him back. He just happened to ask me where you are, and I go, I'm standing next to a golf course here in Scotland.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? I'm like,
you called, I'm calling you back.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Modern technology, and turns out this guy's a golfer too, and he was like kind of jealous. But
yeah,
I didn't play golf in Scotland.
Well, you could send him a picture on the phone. It's, but I mean, isn't that? I mean, it's
all about world class service we offer.
That's the way it should be. And I'm filling it. I'll have to fill in a blank here as I open the door to this room. But that was also another one of the reasons I think you've conveyed to me in the past that you were frustrated, I guess, if I can use that word, working with a large firm, was that you didn't necessarily have the freedom or the flexibility to give the kind of service that you wanted to give, that you felt was deserving of your clients.
Oh, absolutely. Even this big firm I was with, their compensation structure was based on the variety of financial products you're selling. Okay.
Right.
I don't sell anything. I'm providing peace of mind. Now, it's that peace of mind is structured with a good portfolio and a good plan of action, aka a written income plan. That's the peace of mind, and we're custom designing it. I don't need to get off the shelf products like at a big firm. And if you are with a big firm or you're getting your advice at a bank, let me give you a second opinion, one that will really educate you with starting off by just reading my book. Just request a copy of the book, 614-545-0277, and we'll get that to you in a day or two.
You mentioned second opinion, and that's easy to be analogous to a medical situation. If you have a serious or potentially serious medical situation, you probably want to get a second opinion. If there's a radical treatment being recommended for you, you want a second opinion because you want to feel confident about that. And just as with a medical situation or your life and your health, things that'll keep you up at night, one of them is running out of money in retirement. So why would you not take the opportunity to get a second opinion.
That could be a $1 million question.
if you're right. And literally, it could be a $1 million question. It could be a $1 million answer. And if you were to ask 100 people, would you rather have $1 million more or $1 million less? Just as just throwing it out there hypothetically, what would 100 of them say? I think that 100 of them would say $1 million more. If you got one oddball that said less, then God bless them. I don't know what their deal is, but okay.
Speaking of that second opinion, one of the things I used to say was, you get a second opinion on your health. You got to get a second opinion on your wealth.
And that makes perfect sense. And that's why you're the retirement boss, Don Ross. Everything has to rhyme. There is a rhyme and there is a reason. I do the rhymes. You're in charge of all of the reason.
And hope is not a strategy. I always love saying that.
And that's absolutely perfect. I mean, the fact of the matter is the idea of running out of money in retirement is something that keeps people awake. And the closer they get, the closer they think they're getting to their retirement, I think the more they're bothered by it because they don't have an answer. They don't have a concrete plan in place, and that is what you do and do so well.
And I would encourage anybody listening, if you've thought of what retirement could look like, whether you're 45 or 75, let's get together. Give a call, email me. You can't. There's good information on rosswealthadvisors.com, but it's all about sitting down one-on-one, and you can even see the office, what it looks like on my website. And
very nice.
I like to show that to people. So
your
when they
wife
come
did
in,
a very nice job with your office. I'll give her credit for that where credit is due.
Those of you familiar with the Central Ohio, Upper Arlington area, we're right on Fishinger Road, almost to Kenny Road. I bought the old Harley Ruda home office, and we gutted it and renovated it, and it's a beautiful place. And our clients say they feel comfortable and safe in here, talking about really some of the most important things that they ever discuss as a married couple. But I work with singles, I work with widowers, anybody, all walks of life. We just want to try to bring a great plan of action for you to take advantage of, no matter what's happening on Wall Street, Main Street, or for crying out loud, Capitol Hill and Pennsylvania Avenue. That shouldn't affect your retirement unless you don't have a plan in place. And that's what we want to help you do. And maybe you want to request my book first, but if we sit down, I want to build you a solid written income retirement income plan.
And again, Ross Wealth Advisors primarily wants to talk to you if you are currently retired or you're within, as Don puts it, 10 years of retirement.
5 to 10, absolutely.
Even if it's 2 years, if you're thinking, well, I'm retiring in 2 years and I really don't have my act together. Well, get it together.
Or you know what else, Joe? Some of you, whether you're 35, 45, 55, 65, maybe you're in between jobs and you left a 401k at a former employer. I've had someone come in once, 7 old 401ks.
Wow.
Let's
just
at least
moving from job to job. And,
let's look at those, and you need to consolidate. Now, consolidate doesn't mean I have all my eggs in one basket, because of course once we analyze your portfolio as we write your written plan, we're going to talk to you about how to truly build a globally diversified portfolio for long-term growth.
And that's the thing. This is not about meteoric rises in the market and you trying to sell off and get a big profit. This is about planning for your future and making sure that it's stable and having a well laid out portfolio, which provides for you then a written income plan, which then provides your abundant retirement, which is what you're all about.
Absolutely.
And he is Don Ross, the retirement boss from Ross Wealth Advisors. It's rosswealthadvisors.com. Very simple to find. The number to call to either request Don's book, to set up a meeting with Don in the office, 614-545-0277. That's 614-545-0277. If you just want to drop an email to Don, do that. He'll respond to you.
Love to hear from you.
He loves to hear from folks. It's Don, D-O-N, at rosswealthadvisors.com. And next Sunday, we're back again for another abundant retirement show from Ross Wealth Advisors here on Rewind.